Welcome to Faith and Freedom. For the next few minutes, we hope to inform, inspire, and encourage you as we discuss legal victories and challenges to your fundamental freedom and religious liberties. Faith and Freedom comes to you from Liberty Counsel, a civil liberties education and legal defense organization. Join us now as Mat Staver, founder and chairman of Liberty Counsel, explains the latest legal issues all across this country. In the courtrooms of America, Liberty Counsel is winning the battle for your constitutional freedom.
Pastors and church leaders in San Antonio rallied to stop a dangerous ordinance proposed by the city council regarding homosexuality, gender identity, and sexual orientation. I am Mat Staver, founder and chairman of Liberty Counsel. Joining me is Matt Barber, vice president of Liberty Counsel Action. Matt, there's some good signs taking place in San Antonio with the people on the ground, the grassroots, the pastors taking the leadership role, as they should, in San Antonio to rally against this bizarre law that has been proposed by the city council that would include sexual orientation and gender identity in their ordinance of so-called non-discrimination, and it has broad implications. These pastors are rallying against it because they see the threat to our values, but particularly to our religious freedom.
Yeah, I like how you recently wrote in reference to, quote, gender identity or expression, that it's merely a subjective mental thought disassociated from objective reality. But we live in this age of political correctness, where if a person decides subjectively that they would rather really have been born a woman and they're trapped in a man's body, that somehow they can actually defy objective reality, the biological natural order or biological reality, and be female. Well, it's absurd on its face. I mean, why stop there? How about species identity? I mean, if they really wanted to be politically correct, if someone, wants to identify as a horse and get in touch with their inner horse and run the Kentucky Derby, who are we to stop them, right? I mean, it's that absurd, yet here we have San Antonio, like so many other liberal blue areas in the country, where political correctness is running amok, and it's the emperor wears no clothes on display throughout the halls of municipalities across the country.
Well, San Antonio has a large minority population, a lot of African American, Hispanic population there, and they are rallying together along with the Caucasian and other communities there in San Antonio. And recently there were 400 of them that just got together in a meeting to organize. Liberty Counsel has been a part of this particular outreach as well, communicating with the leaders on the ground and giving support, connecting them with other individuals and resources around the country, along with our resources with Pastors and Patriots. This is what Pastors and Patriots is all about. This is pastors getting involved in the community, and they have realized the threat to their religious freedom. This particular proposed ordinance has sexual orientation as part of the ordinance and gender identity or expression. But this particular definition of sexual orientation, for the first time, I don't think I've ever seen this, Matt, it actually includes asexuality with regards to a definition of sexual orientation. Now, I've seen it in other areas in the homosexual agenda. I've never seen it in an ordinance that actually the definition of sexual orientation includes homosexuality and other things, also asexuality. That means that you have no sex. So I guess you have, I don't know what it is, but you come up with your understanding of what asexuality is, and then try to apply that to someone who is in the workplace or a group that wants to use your church facility with regards to a public accommodation. All of these will be implicated. Restrooms. What do you have? You have an asexual restroom along with a, it is so bizarre. And in fact, this thing originally started off with a provision that has been modified, but it still has other problematic situations in it, that says that if you have any bias in your past, you cannot run for city council.
Yeah.
You cannot be on any committee. You can't be on any volunteer service board. You can't be appointed to any task force if you have any bias.
Any evidence of bias.
In your past history.
In your past history. In your church, you go to a church that is
your pastor preaches on
the biblical model of human sexuality, and that homosexuality is sin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you're out.
Which is, on its face, grossly unconstitutional. But Matt, these non-discrimination bills, it's a very clever sleight of hand that the homosexual activists have used for years. They cry discrimination, discrimination, although as a class of people, there's no political powerlessness there. They are per capita probably the most powerful lobby in the world, a huge, powerful international lobby. People bend over backwards to avoid being accused of homophobia or discrimination. They have people terrified. Anytime in a rare instance where somebody may be fired from a place of employment or something because they're a man dressed as a woman or so, it becomes a huge national front page story because the instances are so few and far between. But it all depends on who's defining the terms. If your definition of discrimination is that in the YMCA, the men's room and where men shower, or the ladies' locker room requires that you actually be a lady to go in there and shower in the open showers, and they say, well, no, I feel like a woman, so I want to go in and shower fully biologically male alongside all of these women. If that's your definition of discrimination, that we are going to use our discriminating minds and comport our rules and regulations with reality, with common sense and reality. But you want to call that discrimination?
Yeah, but under this ordinance, it is no common sense, because under this proposed ordinance that is being discussed, it'll go before the City Council in September. This proposed ordinance would allow a man who is biologically and physiologically indisputably male to go into a woman's restroom. Why? Because they say, identify today as a woman. So I want to use the women's restroom. And so it's discrimination if in my mind I think I'm a woman, so consequently I ought to be able to go into the women's restroom. So the man goes in the women's restroom, and maybe this man is or is not in their mind thinking that they're a woman. Maybe they just want to be in the women's restroom. How are you going to know?
Yeah.
How are you going to prove it when it's all
a subjective analysis?
Yeah. It may be just someone who's saying that, who wants to go into the women's restroom to be a peeping Tom and a pervert in a woman's restroom.
Yeah, this bill, of course, opens up the floodgates for perverts. There's no question about that. But Matt, I'm encouraged, that the church has been really a sleeping giant, and some of it is due to a lack of engaging the culture, the larger church, and some of it we've been remiss as the body of Christ. But a lot of it is now we're seeing that sleeping giant coming awake here with these pastors coming together in San Antonio and around the country, and Liberty Counsel is taking the lead and pulling pastors together to fight back against, to be salt and light in a culture that loves darkness, and that's encouraging to me.
Well, in Chicago, it was the black pastors that ultimately stopped the same-sex marriage bill in the Senate when they spoke up and they said to the legislators, this is a line you will not cross. I believe that in San Antonio, we may well see that same thing again. 400 pastors got together. They recently did a press conference. They will appear en masse, and their congregations will as well, as they direct them to go to the City Council. This will be a big outpouring. And this is, I think, really part and parcel of what we are trying to do with our Pastors and Patriots initiative, to really mobilize pastors to speak biblical truth. This is what pastors of old used to do. Yeah. Pastors used to speak truth from the pulpit about the local and state and national issues. And it's time that pastors reclaim that voice. If you want to be a part of Pastors and Patriots, or if you want to be a part of establishing a salt and light ministry in your church, which is a group of volunteers that help the pastor and the church to connect with biblical worldview and local and national and state issues, then give us a call at 1-800-671-1776. We need a salt and light committee, our ministry in churches all over the country. We have 75 right now, and we just had a training a couple of days ago, so we're going to have probably around 80, and we're wanting to expand that all over the country.
And quickly, you mentioned black pastors. They are really coming out of the woodwork. They're sick and tired. The African-American community at large, the vast majority, are sick and tired of this sexual anarchist lobby attaching their little red wagon to the civil rights gravy train, a very noble civil rights movement, and comparing their subjective, perverse lifestyles to immutable, unchangeable characteristics such as skin color and the true persecution that blacks have gone through throughout our country, to this made up persecution that homosexuals are supposedly going through.
Well, give us a call at 800-671-1776. You can go to lc.org as well and ask about our Pastors and Patriots initiative. This is a program designed to motivate, educate, and mobilize pastors and people in the pews. You can ask for our Pastors and Patriots Action Pack, and it contains a DVD and other material, the Patriots Handbook on religious and political activity of pastors and churches. Again, ask for the Pastors and Patriots Action Pack. That's the Pastors and Patriots Action Pack.
You have been listening to Faith and Freedom with Liberty Counsel. We hope that we have motivated you to stand up for your faith, family, and freedom. We can accomplish a lot when we work together. Get informed and get involved today. Sign up for our free monthly newsletter, The Liberator. We will send it out to you free of charge. Stay informed with our Liberty Alert email updates. Just click on the website at www.lc.org or call us at 1-800-671-1776. Tune in next time to learn more about your rights right here on Faith and Freedom.